All right, welcome everyone to Living the Hero's Journey field trip day number 2. We have some fun stuff prepared and some interesting writing prompts and some fun stuff that we're going to go over today. But before we get started and get too far, we want to make sure that everyone is here. So we're going to do a quick little roll call to see who's here, who's not here, and who got trapped in a black hole on their way to Kessel. All right, here we go. We got Twiley Skyrider. Here. Thank you. Ashoka-Ton. Here. Thank you. General Grievous. Here. Excellent, General Grievous. Jin Ursa. Here. Excellent. Moth Vader. Here. Thank you. Jar Jar. Here. Thank you. Boss Nass. Here. All right. Queen Amadali Malalialalia. Here. Thank you. And Bosk. Here. IG-88. Here. And last but not least, Sir Mr. Mando. Here. Thank you. All right. Before we get started, I have some friends with me, an old friend helping me out today in our adventure. We have Lady Miss Sky right over here.
Hi.
And today, this week, we have a new helper who is Sean Pill. Hi. Excellent. So now that everyone is here, we're going to go over last week's homework. I grabbed one person's homework that they wrote. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And they wrote from both perspectives, F6 perspective and Crete's perspective, from where we left off after F6 got trapped because he was the damsel in distress after he went through the door. It's pretty short, but it's a good little quick snippet of what might have happened next. So from F6 perspective, when I got past the door, right before it closed, I saw my teammate trying to run from the monster. Then I turned around and heard Nabob the Hutt say, "Get her!" I screamed and tried to run, but they got me in nearly seconds. So it's good because they leave off F6 right there getting captured. So that's really good. Damsel in distress, quick little moment right after getting captured. All right, now we have Crete's perspective. Crete is the trickster character. So we're going to go ahead and read what happened to him. Just a brief snippet of where we left off. He was in the room with the big monster all by himself. As soon as I heard the door close, I heard a very loud scream. Ah! I almost did the same once I saw the monster, that is. He was like 10,000 feet high. That's really, really high. And 20 feet wide. So he's really tall, really skinny. He was made out of jello, it looked like. I tried to shoot the monster, and it just got more mad. So on this one, I think we did a really, really, really good job with the idea of the damsel in distress. They get captured, but maybe with the Crete character who's supposed to be the trickster, we didn't necessarily add an element of tricksterism in there. Maybe Crete could have run and hide, or maybe he's wearing a cloak and he takes the cloak off and puts it over a rock and then runs away, so the monster thinks that the rock with the cloak is him, and then he can escape because he's tricked the monster into thinking that. Maybe he's a trickster and he's smart enough to know that the monster can't see him as long as he's not moving. So some different ideas to add what a trickster might do. All right, we're going to go ahead and continue onwards. But before we do that, we're going to do some quick writing prompts after some things we're going to cover to help our writing technique kind of be more colorful or more flourishy, I think. And so we have simile. And I'm going to read it real quick and then we'll talk about it. Simile, comparison using like, so the word like, or as, to show similarities between a person, thing, or something. And an example we have right here is the lamp shone bright like the sun. So we're describing the light, or the lamp, is like the sun. It's so bright, it's like the sun. After that, So what we're going to go ahead and do is let's pick an object, look to your left or your right, pick something, and then we're going to quickly write a quick summary about, or not summary, but a simile for what that is. If you do one real quick, we're going to do 2 to 3 minutes. If do maybe one, maybe 2 of them. So look something to your right. If you have a lamp, maybe it's something like a sun, maybe it's something else. Maybe the door isn't a door, maybe it's something else. So we're going to go ahead and write our own right here for 2 minutes. Ready, go. All right, go ahead, keep figuring out what you got, finish it up pretty quick. If you need more time, this would be a good spot to go ahead and pause, finish what you have, and then continue on. I'm gonna go ahead and start with mine, and I did something, I'm thinking a little bit, I'm a little bit hungry right now, so this is mine. The potatoes were so smooth, they tasted like silk. So silk is something that is known, that is very smooth. You run your fingers across it and it's just super duper smooth. So I was just imagining the potatoes, maybe they were beaded so nice that they literally tasted as if they tasted like silk. Sean, what did you go ahead and put together?
Well, I went ahead and did 2. So my first one was the table was as cold as ice, because when I put my hand on here, it's pretty cold. So that's what I felt like. It was as cold as ice.
Excellent.
And then I did a little bit more of a more exaggerated one where I had the dice in front of me, so I went with the green dice glinted like jewels in the flickering light.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. They're like jewels. They're like jewels. Very good. I could imagine this being on a little ring or on like some earrings or something like that. Or excellent. All right. Very good. All right. And Lady Miss Sky?
Well, I looked at the fireplace over to my left, and I imagined there was a fire maybe, and what I came up with was the fire moved like ocean waves.
Ooh, so the fire is moving like ocean waves. I like it. Very interesting. Is that a cold fire maybe?
Oh, maybe it's very low. I was imagining a very low, almost like it was out, like it was about to burn out.
Oh, like it was burning out. All right, very good, very good. Excellent. So now we're going to move on to the next one, which is a metaphor. It's very, very close to a simile, but it's a little bit different. Claims that something is the object of comparison. So an example is, the flower was a bright ray of sunshine. So it's claiming that something is basically something else. So in this, the flower was a bright ray of sunshine. So the flower is literally being claimed as a ray of sunshine. So we're going to go ahead and do our own metaphors. Go ahead, we're going to take 2-ish minutes to go ahead and do our own metaphors. What you're basically doing is saying that something is something else. So if we were going to do this with the lamp was so bright it was the sun. Might be another good example on that. All right, so do good metaphor. Remember, if you finish that first one, go ahead and do a second one. All right. If you still need time on yours, this is a good moment again to pause. Go ahead, finish your 2, challenge yourself, and then come back on in. Remember, these writing prompts that you do, go ahead and make sure that you're sending them to me with the homework that I give you at the end of the day, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with mine. I did 2 this time. Remember, we're saying that something is basically something else. The snow is a white blanket. So the snow is a white blanket. It's a good metaphor. My other one is, her hair was a golden river. So I'm imagining maybe your mom has nice long blonde hair and it looks like a golden river. So you're literally just saying when you're writing that it's a golden river. Her hair was a golden river. And a metaphor gives us even a more intense imagery than a simile does. All right, Sean, what'd you do for yourself?
I also did 2 as well, and my second one is a lot like one of yours, but my first one was, the green grass was a soft carpet in my toes. So in mine, the green grass is a soft carpet. I know it's not a carpet, but we're making it seem like if you've ever run your feet through the grass, like it's a carpet. And then my second one was, the heat was a thick blanket in the air.
Oh, another blanket. Excellent, excellent. So he's talking about the heat in the air is keeping him warm the same way a blanket is. So he's literally saying that the heat is a blanket. Excellent, excellent. It's kind of an abstract idea to give a reader a more intense feeling of what you're writing. All right, so Lady Miss Sky, what'd you go ahead and put down?
I stuck with the fireplace and the fire idea, and I had written, the fire was a heated jewel cradled in the ashes.
Ooh, excellent. Excellent. A jewel is literally being in the ash. I like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our last quick writing prompt to start with for the day. And this one down here at the very bottom is, I'm gonna say this word wrong, but it's onomatopoeia. Did I say that right there?
Yes.
Yay! All right, onomatopoeia. The sound a person, animal, action, or event the words describe. So you're describing the sound of something happening. So our example is, the plot clanged. Clang is a sound word, so the pot clanged against the tile when it fell. So instead of saying that the pot fell, it clanged when it fell. It clanged. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do our own quick writing prompt on something that makes a sound. So go ahead, take 2 minutes, and try to do 2 of them. And again, make sure that you're sending this to me in an email as part of your homework, okay? I got two of them real quick. The arrow crackled in the air. So I'm imagining an arrow, maybe it's a magical bow and the arrow is shot and it's going so fast it's crackling. Crackling is a sound word, kind of like thunder, going really fast. So it's like maybe an arrow that's like a thunderous arrow or something like that. All right, the next one I have is the car screeched to a halt. So again, my sound action essentially is it's screeching to a halt. All right, Mr. Sean.
So I also did two as well. And my first one was the engine roared as the driver smashed the pedal. So for our describing word on that one, the engine roaring, engines don't normally roar, that'd be associated with animals. But for ours, my engine roared, like an animal. And then my next one was, I like animals, so the wind howled through the trees on a cold winter's night. I like to give my sentences some animal sounds sometimes because it's very easy for me to use an animal sound because I understand that one and add that to my sentence. So for my second one again, that was the wind howled.
Excellent. So you can always think of an animal. What kind of a sound does an animal make? And then add that to your writing. We got wolves, they howl. Lions, they roar. Dolphins and all sorts of different animals. Whales, they sing. So you can always add that to the sound of something. Maybe something is singing and it's really not something that's singing. So for instance, a piano, it plays music. It doesn't sing. It's not an animal. It's not a human. A piano can sing if we write it that way, and it gives it kind of a more lively idea in our head of what it is. All right, Lady Fern.
My first one, I wrote the keys jangled inside my pocket. So, kind of thinking of like how keys are sitting in your pocket when you're taking them out, they kind of jingle and jangle against each other. And then my second one was the lightsaber whoomed as it moved through the air. So I kind of tried my best to write what the lightsaber sounds like when they're moving it around, and I came up with whoom kind of noise.
Ooh, there you go. You can even put your own sound in there. So a lightsaber, how are we going to describe a lightsaber? It kind of makes a whoom. Maybe it's a magnetic-y sound, but I made a magnetic-y sound. That doesn't sound very good. We can just add something in there, and we would be doing an onomatopoeia. All right? Excellent. So in your homework later that we're going to tell you, make sure you're trying to add some similes, some metaphors, and some onomatopoeia in your writings, okay? All right, now we are going to go back to where we left off. Now, I liked where F6 left off from our writing that we used earlier today. I'm going to read it real quick. When I got past the door, right before it closed, I saw my teammate trying to run from the monster. Then I turned around and heard Nabob the Hutt say, "Get her!" Screamed and tried to run, but they got me. So we're going to say that F6 has been captured now, and he's on the other side of the door from the monsters. Now, we're going to go ahead and use two new characters that we have today. And those are going to be from some new archetypes. So, Sean, will you go ahead and describe the character that you are going to be using today? What is his name, and what is he like just a little bit?
So, my character that I'm playing, his name is Florg the Trandoshan. He's a bit of a slow brute who really likes to use his fists over his words. Now, he's not too smart, but he's a good guy, and he just wants to do the right thing. But he doesn't always know how to do that.
Excellent. So this is an archetype that we're going to be looking at today. And this archetype is typically called the dumb muscle. So Florg is a very strong character physically, but not necessarily so strong up in the head. And this makes him kind of humorous, and he can use his strength very advantageously, but sometimes his lack of brain strength gets them into some funky situations. Hopefully we'll see some of that. So, some examples of some dumb muscle characters is we've got Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove. He's very strong, not so smart in the head. Another one is Drax from Marvel. Once again, very, very strong. He's used very strongly, but not so smart in the head. And whenever they use similes or metaphors, he actually doesn't quite understand them. And anyways, so we have that. Now, Lady Miss Sky, will you go ahead and tell us the character that you are going to be playing as today?
My character is Archimedes, and she kind of sees art in and beauty by creating things, especially from like machinery and droids and everything. She believes that you can create art through that, and maybe some helpful things here and there too.
All right, so we're going to look at what her archetype is. It's the inventor or expressionist, which is kind of more of that artsy side that she was talking about. And so some examples, so we know in Disney we have Beauty and the Beast. Belle has a father, you get introduced to him, and he's got all of these fun contraptions that he's created all the time to help his life and his daughter out. And some of them are kind of silly, and the townsfolk don't quite understand him, but that's what he does. He's an inventor of such. We also have another one, which is Tony Stark from Iron Man. And so Tony Stark, I like to think of Tony Stark and Iron Man almost as two separate characters. You have Iron Man, he's the guy who goes out and fights the bad guys, and he does his own thing. But Tony Stark, when he's in his garage and he's building something, he is just a perfect example of the archetype inventor. He's going to invent his way out of all of his problems. When he was trapped in that dungeon, when he was captured, how was he going to get out? He invented a way out. He created his suit. Every time Tony Stark is into a problem, he invents his way out. Typically, that is in the Iron Man suit, where he's always modifying it and change it. He has a problem, he's out and about, and he needs to put his Iron Man suit on really, really fast. So he invents an Iron Man suit that is trapped inside of a suitcase, and he opens the suitcase and he has his Iron Man suit. So he solved the problem of how do I get my iron suit on really, really fast. So we're going to see how these characters kind of interact. Now, the situation or the scene that we left off last week was we had one of our characters, Crete, in a dungeon with a big old monster. We're going to go ahead and say that Crete has escaped, but two of our other friends and fellow friends, Archimedes and Florg, have accidentally found themselves in here looking for Crete and F6, and now they are going to have to face the monster instead of Crete. And so we're going to go ahead and stop once again. And what I want you to go ahead and do is I want you to write yourself a good paragraph right now, a good paragraph of how these characters are going to get out of this situation. You could do this a few different ways. One, you can write yourself as just Florg, the dumb muscle, and say how would he solve it, a good paragraph on him. Or you could write yourself a good paragraph on how the inventor, Archimedes, is going to get out of this situation. Or you could challenge yourself and think about how are both of these characters going to get themselves out of the situation as a team. As a team. How do they work as a team and write a good paragraph? So you could do it from just the dumb muscles perspective, just the inventor's perspective, or both of their perspectives. Okay? So we're going to go ahead. This is probably a part where you're going to want to pause. Go ahead, do that real quick, and then come on back. So I'm going to make a silly face. And now we're back. So hopefully you paused, you got that paragraph in there. We're going to go ahead and jump right in here with our characters. We have our inventor character, and we have Florg standing right here. The big monster growls at the both of the characters, with his jello-y skin dripping almost as if it's falling off his jello-y. Ooh, it's a simile. His skin is like jello, dripping all over as he runs up to Florg with his fists are raised, and he swings his fists at Florg. Let's see if he gets Florg. Excellent. He's hit Florg. Florg, you take 10 points of damage as the big jello hands of this slimy monster slap you across the face. It is now your turn, Florg. What do you do?
Oh, well, I took that damage, so obviously I'm going to hit him back. And I'm really good at hitting people.
Excellent.
Let's see if it works.
All right, now the Jello monster has defense. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Can the monster get more than that? He only got 3. So you have done 10 points of damage to our monster. Excellent. As you hit him right in the face, the monster's jello-y eyes go rah, and he can only see out of one eye now. Archimedes, it is now your turn. What do you do?
I'm gonna see if I can't look around for something that can help.
All right.
I'm really good at looking, so.
All right, you got quite a few successes, 5 successes. And what you actually see is you see some different droid components around the room that you think that if you collect them all, you might be able to build something really quickly to help you escape or defeat the monster. What else would you like to do after looking?
I look over to Florg and I say, hold them off as long as you can. And I run to the closest one, which would be, I want to say, this one.
Excellent. You run on over there and you find that it is the head of a battle droid. It is the head of a battle droid. Excellent. We're going to now move back to the Jello monster, I guess what we're calling it. I like that. It's a Jello monster. Very simile-like. Excellent. The Jello monster is now going to go ahead and attempt to pick up Florg's character with both of his hands.
Oh no!
He go ahead and he takes both of his hands and he squeezes Florg and he lifts him up really, really, really high.
Whoa.
And he throws him across the room, smashing into this pillar so that Florg is stuck inside the pillar as if the pillar was a wax candle. He is now stuck in the pillar as if it was a wax candle. All right, Florg, it is now your turn.
Archimedes, what should I do? I'm stuck in this wax candle like pillar now. I guess I'll try to use my muscles to get out. Because I'm strong, I get to roll more dice.
All right, so he's gonna make a strength check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really, really, really high. I don't think the dice even have that many to get out. Florg, you push yourself out of the wax candle, and as you fall to the ground, you realize that you have hurt some of yourself when you got smashed into that pillar, and you took another 5 points of damage. All right. Archimedes, what do you want to do?
Can I look really quick at the other droid parts that I've seen and see what other components there are?
Yes, you can go ahead and, not these purple ones, but those ones right here.
Those ones?
You can look at one of them specifically to tell what it is. Oh wow, everyone's rolling really, really good. I know that when we were in class, everyone rolled all horrible, but they're doing really good today. All right, so you look over here at this one, and what you see is you see the bottom of a droid that had big, gigantic tank treads. Big, gigantic tank treads.
If you could still hold them off a little longer, Florg, I think I can maybe create a new droid that can defeat this monster. And I pick this up, and I go over to here, and I try to see what other parts I can connect, or what I would need to connect.
All right.
So I think I'm doing, would it be computers?
Yep. All right.
I don't know that one.
All right. Very good. We got 3 successes. What you have seen,
The droid
Archimedes.
speaks.
What you've seen, Archimedes, is that the battle droid can be connected to the tracks and move it around. So if you want to spend your next turn, you can reattach the wiring so that you can then be on the tracks and ride around and control it.
Awesome.
So it's basically the head of the battle droid is going to work as the computer operating system. All right, back to the Jello monster. The Jello monster is going to walk backwards like this, and he is then going to run at Florg as if he is a tank. So he's going to run at Florg, so that's a metaphor. He is a tank. He's running at Florg as a tank. And he's going to jump at the very last minute with his head as a missile at Florg's chest. Now, this is going to give Florg a chance to go ahead and dodge out of the way.
Instead of dodging, can I use my face to hit his face like a headbutt?
Yes, you can. All right. So whoever rolls the highest will do damage.
All right, how many dice do I get for a headbutt?
A headbutt, your strength. So I think go ahead and roll 3 green ones.
Awesome. See if my headbutt works out.
All right, you got one. So
Uh-oh.
not so
good.
Not so good. Now the monster, he's twice as big, so he's gonna go ahead and roll 6. So I'm gonna roll these twice. So we'll see if the monster tank can go ahead and headbutt you. Nothing. So that's a 0. All right, let's go ahead and roll again. 1. So both of your characters rolled the same amount. So your heads come colliding together and make a clattering, smashing of the glass sound as your head skulls smash together. And it knocks you both on the floor down like this. And the monster growls in pain. Excellent. Florg, he's so tough he makes no noises at all. None. Excellent. All right, Florg, it's now your turn.
I would like to stand up and then go and suplex him. With the elbow.
Some wrestling moves. So you're going to come on up. Go ahead and, not those ones. Make a suplex attack.
If I yell in person, does it add to my attack?
Of course it does, Florg.
Yeah!
Excellent. So we got 1, 2, 3. All right.
No, it was a 4.
Oh, 4.
Okay.
All right. There we go. 1. You successfully suplex the monster.
Yeah.
Doing another 10 damage to it. You look at the monster and you realize, Florg, that as much damage as you've done to it, he's still really, really strong and really, really powerful as you start to feel a little bit weak from all of the damage you've taken.
Am I allowed to say something?
Of course.
Archimedes, I need you to hurry up because my face isn't doing much damage to his face.
Excellent. All right. Archimedes, as Florg calls you, it's now your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm going to attempt to reattach the head and the body of...
All right, go ahead and make an invention roll. All right, you got some successes. I'm going to go ahead and use this eraser with the head droid, and you now have a little tractor. Would you like to hop on?
Yes.
All right, you're now on, and it starts rolling, and you control it. So where would you like to go with it?
I want to ram him right into the Jello monster.
You want to ram it into the Jello monster. All right, so I'm going to have you make a computer control check.
Pretty good with computers still, so we'll do that. Hopefully that monster, it will do damage to the monster.
All right, you go ahead and ram it right into the monster, and it's pushing the monster, but the monster is coming up on top of the tracks, and it's going to carry him away with you. Would you like to make a reflex jump to get off?
Yes, please.
All right, so you're not very good at that because you're much more of an inventor. Ooh, 2. All right, as you jump off, as it's going away, the monster quickly is going to make an attempt to grab you. Ooh, he grabs you in his fists, and he's going over here out of the building. Florg, if you would like, you can spend your turn and and try to grab her arm as she reaches out for your help.
Yes, I will grab with my hands. Yes.
Excellent. Go ahead, make a strength check to pull her out of the clutches of the monster. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, and 4. Let's see what we get. The monster's strength does not meet yours, and you successfully pull her out. And the monster goes out of the door and off a cliff outside of Nabob's castle. All right, what would your characters like to do now?
Whew. Thanks.
Good thinking there, Arlemides. You did really good in that making a thingy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You did good at not letting me fall.
So, what do we do now?
I think from what we had seen as we were coming into the castle, that our friend F6 went through that door. Maybe perhaps we can figure out how to open it and get to him.
Maybe I can use my immense strength to open the door.
Excellent. I think that's a good idea.
All right, they're gonna go to the door. We're gonna make a quick stop right here, and I want you to go ahead and write. Choose one. Does Archimedes have to use her invention skills to open the door? Go ahead, write a quick little couple sentences of how Archimedes uses her invention skills to get out of the door. Or is it gonna be Florg's brute strength and break through the door? So go ahead, do that right now. Make a quick pause if you need to. All right, now we're back, and we're gonna say that Florg used his brute strength to open the door, and they have now come to a new room that has Nabob the Hutt and all of his goons. Oh, thank you. Nabob the Hutt and all of his goons, and F6 right here. You successfully defeated my monster. Perhaps I can get the information out of your droid for you. But to get information out of an Imperial droid such as you speak, you will have to bring me a Force holocron, a dark Force holocron. And you can have your friend F6 back. All right, so we are going to go ahead and end the day of our story right there. However, your homework for the day is to choose a place where Nabob says is going to send them to get the Force hologram. What kind of a place? And I want you to choose a place. So a new planet, or it could be a castle of some side, or a dungeon or something like that. And I want you to go ahead and write 2 to 3 paragraphs of how a dumb muscle character is going to get the Force holocron out. So write a place that needs a lot of strength and describe it in your paragraphs. Or write a place that is going to need a character who needs to invent their way through all of the different puzzles. Maybe it's a big space station and you're gonna have to invent different things to open the doors, or there's droids and you're gonna have to be smart enough to turn all of the battle droids off. And so you're going to write a place where you think this Force holocron is, all right? And then go ahead and send that to us as an email, and I'm gonna use one of yours as the actual place for where our next story takes place. Until then, goodbye!
Bye, all. Bye.